Kajingwan hiar thama kajuk social media kalasiat sebak ban pentranya ke Jingbang jongki Briew ban Pule kon namar pagi sengusuk ban syuklik tang haki shimpriak ti jongki haki mobile ki komputer. Ya kani lepan sengau director ke tourism uba Cyril Darlong Diengdo IAS haki jingalang pelat ya kakot mandatory poison and other Shillong things mentakasngi haki jingalang ha seminar hall State Central Library Shillong. Uba Cyril ulaong bakaladon gajing tunjuk hakani gajuk ban kring ya kibriyo ban pulakon namar baka social media kala pensuk ya kibriyo. Haka juga por ulaong baka kamram kinong thokot kamdai tang ban pensengu tanat ya kinong pule handai ban aiman semru ya kiwe kinong thokot. Ula kentu ya kibriyo ki badan sap ban thokot ban mi syakmat ban penan kam ya kasap ya kajingriu spa kari bat kejala. Shwaya kani la yoru ya kajingkren na uba KL Taryang IAS retire nalor kiwe pat.
It really stayed with me. The detective genre, the genre of writing, it was very accessible, it was very joyful, very pleasurable to read. And when I think back and I sit here today at this very State Central Library and look back, I must say that the students today are fortunate that you have today many writers from this very city of ours, this region of the Northeast, this state of ours, who are writing about our land, our place, our people. Because if I look back at 97, 98, I don't remember, having discovered a lot of accessible literature. There must have been literature, there must have been books, but maybe not the books that, a young student would read. And if you see Professor Bukika's last chapter in the book, which is really, an agenda for what should be next, she talks about the creative scene in Shillong, and she's proud to say that so many writers today are from Shillong. They're writing different kind of books, and many of them are indeed from her school of Loreto Convent. And she's, as a proud Loreto Conventite, she's urging people to write, and she's saying that how Shillong has really transformed as a capital for fiction and literature. We have, many great writers from this region who are still writing, from Janice Pariat to Anjum Hassan, Daisy Hassan, Ankush Saikia, Professor Desmond Karmoflam, Mr. Kimpang Singh Nongkundri, who has just released a book a few days ago. And such great literature is coming out of it. And I wish that as a child, when I was growing up, I had access to this literature. I'm sure today I have that access to that literature, but as an adult with work, it's not as easy or as simple. Perhaps many of you who are young here, who are students or who are fellow writers, I think the job of writer is not only to give pleasure in terms of the pleasure to the reader, but to inspire other writers. That is what I feel one should take out of book launches and book readings, because it's really, not only the acknowledgement of the effort that the writer has put into the work, the honesty to put the thoughts into writing, which we can all relate to, but the fact that writing should also inspire others. It should be accessible and inspiring. So I must say we live in great times where there's great literature coming out of Shillong, of our region, of our beautiful state, and it is important indeed that we read. That we read first, that whatever we can lay our hands on, we read. Today, the challenge to reading is much more, it's gained much more momentum because of the fact that we live in an age where it's easy to just read from a mobile phone, to scroll through social media and just to hit likes and, or unlike, give short comments. So it's important that people who can write and who should write, like Professor Kika, do write. Because many people who can write don't write, or they don't have the time to write. But it's important that, especially young authors and aspiring poets and writers, please write. That's what I would say. Please write. Please take inspiration from others, because in this fast age space where we want to just read quick things, the nuances of the culture, the richness of our history, of our language, of Shillong type of English, which is unique to our place, is lost. It's not there, and I'm so happy and glad that this book is out. As Director of Tourism, I can only say that I will definitely recommend this book to all tourists, and we will see how we can take this book so that it reaches larger audience. In my capacity as director, I'll do whatever is possible to make sure that this book reaches a much more larger audience. We have this great store called the Meghalaya store in New Delhi, which has a lot of events where we also encourage authors and artists to release their books, release their songs, release their paintings. I'm sure that we can think of those activities because we need to reach a larger audience. Because our history, our culture, it's not only meant for us. As Professor Dikika in the last chapter, urges the reader and the writer to look beyond Shillong, to say that we as Shillong can make our city as one of the literature capitals of the Northeast, I'm sure, or of maybe of India. And since we are bilingual, we have access to multiple literatures where we can speak English, think English, but also think in Garo, Khasi, Mizo, in other languages. The rich diversity of our city is something that that adds to the richness of our thoughts and of our literature. And I would like to encourage all the young students who are here, especially, to take this as a motivation from what Professor Bikika has written, to aspire to become writers and readers. With these few words,